before dawn breaks over the Gulf of Mexico. The docks are already alive with the rumble of diesel engines and the clatter of equipment. The air carries the unmistakable scent of salt water mixed with the faint aroma of fresh seafood. Massive trawlers, some longer than a city block, glide into the harbor after a night at sea. Their nets, heavy and dripping, are hoisted high, revealing a shimmering cascade of jumbo shrimp, each glistening under the dim pier lights. Crew members, their faces weathered from years of navigating these waters, work with a practiced urgency. Every second matters. The shrimp are transferred from the nets into stainless steel bins, and within minutes, they're moved into chilling tanks of icy seawater. The temperature must drop quickly to preserve the delicate texture and flavor that Chicago's high-end restaurants demand. Inside a processing facility, just steps from the dock, the rhythm changes, but the pace remains relentless. Workers in insulated gloves and waterproof aprons sort the shrimp by size with astonishing speed. The jumbo shrimp are set aside, the uniform size making them ideal for the premium market hundreds of miles away. Industrial conveyors carry them toward automated graders and cutting stations where heads and shells are removed for specific orders. The sound of machinery blends with the hum of compressors as powerful refrigeration units keep the entire building at a near-freezing temperature. Every part of this operation is a race against time and temperature. From the moment the shrimp leave the ocean, the clock is ticking. In a separate section of the plant, the cleaned shrimp are plunged into a flash freeze tunnel. Jets of sub-zero air surround them, locking in freshness within minutes. A layer of protective glaze is applied, thin enough not to add weight, but essential for keeping the shrimp from drying out during transport. Workers pack the frozen product into labeled boxes, each stamped with a traceable lot number. That code links the shipment to the exact boat, date, and catch location, a vital requirement for both food safety and strict U.S. seafood regulations. The boxes are then stacked neatly onto pallets, each one wrapped in a plastic film that seals in the cold and prevents moisture loss. Meanwhile, out in the yard, a line of refrigerated trucks waits, with engines idling. These massive 18-wheelers are the arteries of America's seafood distribution, each capable of holding tens of thousands of pounds at a consistent temperature just below freezing. Drivers, many of whom are veterans of long-haul routes, double-check their manifests and verify the load matches the order. Fuel tanks are topped off, refrigeration units are inspected, and tire pressures are checked. In this industry, a mechanical failure halfway to Chicago could mean the difference between a perfect delivery and a costly disaster. The loading crew moves with precision, forklifts gliding back and forth between the cold storage facility and the truck trailers. As the heavy insulated doors seal shut behind each pallet, the chilled air escapes in white clouds, swirling into the humid Gulf morning. With the cargo secured, the journey begins. The first leg takes the trucks across the flat, marshy terrain of the Gulf Coast, where the air remains thick with salt and moisture. The drivers know the route by heart, north through Louisiana, skirting the Mississippi River, and cutting through the endless pine forests of Mississippi and Tennessee. Each mile is measured not in distance, but in hours of cold preservation. Inside the trailers, digital monitors constantly log the internal temperature, sending alerts if even a single degree rises above the safe zone. The refrigeration systems, powered by independent diesel units, run continuously, ensuring that the jumbo shrimp remain as fresh as the moment they left the water. Along the highway, the trucks pull into designated rest stops, where the drivers check the loads in person. The process is quick but meticulous. Open the heavy rear doors, verify the temperature reading, ensure the pallet stacks haven't shifted, and close up fast to prevent heat intrusion. It's a routine that's been repeated countless times, but no one treats it casually. The value of what they're hauling is enormous, not just in dollars, but in the reputation of the Gulf's fishing fleet. Restaurants in Chicago aren't buying just shrimp. They're buying trust, the guarantee that what lands on their customers' plates was handled with absolute care every step of the way. By the time the convoy pushes into the Midwest, the Gulf breeze is a distant memory, replaced by cooler, drier air. The terrain shifts to rolling farmland, silos dotting the horizon like markers on the final stretch of the journey. Drivers navigate the outskirts of Chicago, weaving through industrial districts where massive cold storage warehouses stand like fortresses of frozen goods. Here, the shrimp will be unloaded, inspected once more, and in many cases, redistributed to smaller refrigerated trucks that will take them directly to restaurants, hotels, and specialty markets across the city. But before that happens, there's still one final critical step waiting at the dock, inside the receiving bay of the Chicago cold storage facility. The atmosphere is a precise mix of urgency and control. The moment the trucks back into the loading docks, dock doors seal tightly against the trailers, creating an enclosed bridge where warm outside air can't seep in. Forklift operators move quickly, but with deliberate precision, lifting entire pallets of jumbo shrimp and rolling them straight into the cavernous, temperature-controlled interior. The hum of the industrial freezers here is a constant low roar, the air so cold that it bites at any exposed skin. Workers in insulated suits and heavy gloves inspect the shipment as it comes off each truck. They check the condition of the packaging, scan the lot numbers into a digital tracking system, and compare the arrival temperatures to the records kept during transit. Any deviation would trigger an immediate quality review. But today, everything is exactly as it should be: cold, clean, and perfectly preserved. From here, the shrimp are split into different distribution channels. Some pallets are destined for the city's upscale steakhouses and seafood restaurants, where chefs have standing orders for weekly deliveries. Others will go to specialty seafood wholesalers who supply smaller eateries, country clubs, and boutique hotels across the region. In a corner of the warehouse, a separate area is designated for direct retail packaging. Here, the same shrimp that traveled hundreds of miles in a climate-controlled truck are carefully portioned into consumer-ready bags. The packaging is designed not only to protect the product, but also to showcase it. The clear plastic revealing the plump, uniform jumbo shrimp inside, the label proudly stating, "Wild-caught Gulf of Mexico." This mark of origin is more than just marketing. It's a badge of authenticity that sets these shrimp apart in a market crowded with farm-raised imports. While most people will only ever see the final product in a store or on a dinner plate, the amount of coordination that brought it here is staggering. The scheduling alone requires careful timing. Boats must land their catch on specific days to match the processing facility's capacity, which must align with the availability of refrigerated trucks, which in turn have to hit strict delivery windows at the distribution centers. Any delay at one stage ripples through the chain, potentially jeopardizing the entire shipment. This is why communication between fishermen, processors, truckers, and distributors is constant. Phone calls, emails, and GPS tracking updates keep everyone informed down to the hour. The goal is simple: keep the shrimp moving, keep it cold, and never let quality slip. In the kitchen of a high-end Chicago restaurant, the arrival of these shrimp is an event in itself. The chef knows exactly when the delivery is scheduled and has prepared his team to handle it the moment it comes through the back door. The insulated boxes are brought inside, still frosted from the journey. As the lid is lifted, a rush of chilled air escapes, revealing the gleaming pink and white shells. The chef inspects them closely, feeling the firm texture that tells him they were frozen at the peak of freshness. There is no smell other than the clean, faint scent of the ocean, a sign of impeccable handling. He knows that tonight, these shrimp will be the centerpiece of dishes that customers will remember for weeks. A simple garlic butter preparation, perhaps, or a chilled shrimp cocktail served on a bed of crushed ice. The work done hundreds of miles away in the Gulf will come to life here, on plates that leave the kitchen under warm lights and satisfied smiles. But the journey doesn't end with the city's fine dining scene. Some of these jumbo shrimp find their way into bustling seafood markets, where customers line up to buy them fresh from the case. Vendors display them prominently, stacking them on crushed ice in mounds that sparkle under bright market lights. Handwritten signs proclaim their origin, the price per pound, and the fact that they were caught just days ago. Customers reach for them eagerly, many unaware of the intricate logistics that made such freshness possible in a city hundreds of miles from the nearest coastline. Others make their way into private catering events, wedding banquets, or large corporate gatherings where they're served to hundreds of guests at once. Each time they appear, they carry with them a piece of the Gulf's coastal heritage, A taste of the ocean brought inland with care and precision. Behind the scenes, the cycle is already starting again. In the Gulf, new trawlers are leaving port, their crews ready to work through the night. Processing plants prepare for another influx of fresh catch. Refrigerated trucks are cleaned, inspected, and scheduled for their next run north. In this business, there's no such thing as downtime. Demand is constant, and the stakes are high. The seafood industry operates on razor-thin margins, where the balance between cost, speed, and quality can make or break a season's profits. And while most consumers will never think about the journey their food takes, every link in this chain, from the captain hauling in the nets to the driver navigating icy highways in January, knows exactly what it takes to make it happen. The story of these 50 tons of jumbo shrimp is one of precision, discipline, and trust. Every person involved understands that they are not just moving a product, they are protecting a reputation built over decades. The Gulf of Mexico has long been a source of some of the finest seafood in the world, and maintaining that legacy means never compromising on quality. From the moment those shrimp left the water to the instant they arrive on a plate in Chicago, every hand that touched them worked with the same goal in mind: deliver them as perfectly as the ocean made them, no matter how many miles stand in the way. Out on the waters of the Gulf of Mexico, the process that makes all of this possible is unfolding again under the open sky. The trawlers move slowly through the dark waves, their navigation lights casting soft reflections across the water. Crews work in near silence except for the steady thrum of diesel engines and the slap of waves against the hull. Large booms extend out from the vessels, supporting the heavy trawl nets as they sweep the seafloor. Each pass can take hours, and the crews work in shifts to keep the process going without pause. The goal is to capture the shrimp in the early hours of the night, when they rise from the sandy bottom to feed. Timing is everything. Too early, and the catch is small. Too late, and the shrimp retreat back into the seabed. When the nets finally come up, the deck bursts into action. The massive mesh bags, bulging with the night's harvest, are hooked onto hydraulic winches and lifted high above the deck. As the nets open, the shrimp spill out in a glistening cascade, sliding into holding bins where seawater pumps keep them submerged and alive until sorting. The crew immediately begins separating the catch, tossing back any bycatch, small fish, crabs, or marine life not destined for the market. Regulations in the Gulf are strict, requiring turtle excluder devices and bycatch reduction gear to ensure sustainability. These measures are enforced not only by law, but by the industry itself, which understands that long-term health of the fishery is the foundation of its survival. Back at the docks, the first sign of the returning boats is the faint glow of their lights on the horizon. Buyers and processors wait on shore, knowing that freshness is the currency that defines the value of the catch. The unloading process is swift and choreographed. Crates of shrimp are transferred from the boat to refrigerated storage in a matter of minutes. On some days, the catch is so abundant that forklifts weave through a maze of pallets, moving them directly from the docks into waiting trucks that will transport them to processing facilities further inland. Every movement is calculated to reduce the time between ocean and ice. Inside the processing plant, the work runs like a finely tuned machine. Massive stainless steel tumblers rotate gently, washing the shrimp in chilled water. Conveyor belts carry them past workers who sort, dehead, and devein with practiced efficiency. The hum of equipment fills the air, but the real heartbeat of the operation comes from the people, many of whom have been in the trade for decades, their skill evident in the speed and precision of their hands. Here, every decision, from the size grading to the exact timing of the freezing process, is based on experience and science. Too much handling risks damaging the shrimp's delicate texture, and even the slightest delay in freezing can affect flavor. As the processing continues, pallets of freshly frozen jumbo shrimp are staged in a massive holding freezer where the temperature hovers around -20 degrees Fahrenheit. The cold bites into the air, making breath visible in the frosty light. Here they will remain until the logistics team confirms that the trucks are ready for loading. The coordination is tight. Any delay in truck arrival could mean reshuffling schedules and risking a slowdown in other incoming shipments. Drivers receive precise loading times and route instructions, factoring in weather forecasts and traffic patterns along the way to Chicago. A storm in the Midwest can alter plans, forcing reroutes or delays, but the refrigeration systems are designed to maintain the cargo's integrity for days if needed. Once the trucks are on the road, technology takes over part of the responsibility. Satellite tracking not only shows the location of every shipment, but also monitors trailer temperatures in real time. If there's a fluctuation, alerts are sent instantly to both the driver and the dispatch center. This constant vigilance ensures that the shrimp's condition upon arrival matches the standard promised to customers. Along the route, fuel stops are planned with enough redundancy to account for unexpected detours. Even the choice of rest stops is strategic, favoring locations with dedicated parking areas for refrigerated units to keep them away from high-traffic zones, where a bump or collision could compromise the load. By the time the trucks begin their approach to the city, the product inside has traveled hundreds of miles without ever experiencing a temperature rise above the approved threshold. The drivers guide their rigs through the industrial outskirts of Chicago, where massive cold storage facilities and distribution hubs dominate the landscape. From above, these buildings look like sprawling, windowless fortresses, but inside, they are meticulously organized environments designed to handle tens of thousands of pounds of perishable goods every single day. Dock crews, already briefed on the incoming shipment, prepare to receive the load the moment the trailer's back in. The unloading is swift, almost mechanical, yet still handled with human oversight at every step. Forklifts glide in and out of the trailers, stacking pallets in designated zones based on their destination. For some of the shrimp, the journey will end here, going directly into restaurant orders scheduled for same-day delivery. For others, this is just a transfer point before being sent on to other Midwest cities, where the same standards of quality will be expected and upheld. Each box carries the traceability code that tells its story, from the exact GPS coordinates of the catch to the names of the vessels and crews that brought it in. This transparency isn't just for compliance. It's part of the brand identity that makes Gulf-caught shrimp so sought after. In every step of the process, from the moment the nets first touch the water to the final transfer into a cold storage rack, the goal has been unwavering: deliver the jumbo shrimp in pristine condition, preserving every ounce of flavor, texture, and freshness that the Gulf has to offer. It's a system built on trust, precision, and respect for both the product and the people who depend on it. And while the consumer may only see the final plated dish or the bag in the store, each bite carries within it the invisible miles and the countless hands that made the journey possible. From the perspective of the people who live and breathe this trade, every shipment of jumbo shrimp is more than just a load of seafood. It's the result of generations of knowledge, an unbroken chain of discipline, and a respect for the ocean that goes beyond business. In the Gulf communities, entire families have built their lives around this industry. Fathers pass down the skills of reading the tides and weather to their sons, while daughters learn the intricate processes of sorting, grading, and preparing the shrimp with care. This isn't just work, it's heritage. Every box that makes its way to Chicago carries a small piece of that culture, a connection between two vastly different worlds, one where the horizon is made of open water, and the other where skyscrapers pierce the sky. The connection is sustained by the standards that every link in the chain enforces, without compromise. In Chicago, high-end chefs, distributors, and seafood market owners all share one expectation: consistency. The shrimp that arrives this week must match the quality of the shrimp delivered last week, last month, and last year. That reliability is what allows restaurants to plan menus around it and customers to order their favorite dishes with confidence. This constant performance is only possible because every step of the process has been refined through decades of trial, error, and innovation. From better freezing technology to improved insulation in refrigerated trucks, to route optimization that shaves hours off delivery times. For the chefs, these shrimp are not just an ingredient. They are the foundation of some of their most profitable and memorable dishes. A perfectly grilled jumbo shrimp served alongside fresh herbs and a squeeze of lemon can be the difference between a good plate and an unforgettable one. For seafood markets, displaying Gulf shrimp prominently signals to customers that they are offering something premium, something worth paying more for. The origin story, wild caught in the Gulf, flash frozen within hours, transported in refrigerated trucks directly to the Midwest, adds value that customers can taste and trust. Behind the polished plates and elegant presentations, the real story is one of hard work. In the Gulf, crews face unpredictable weather, mechanical failures, and long hours on restless seas. On the road, truck drivers push through endless miles, construction detours, and winter storms, knowing that even the smallest delay could throw off delivery schedules. In the distribution centers, teams move fast in frigid conditions, handling heavy pallets while maintaining strict sanitation standards. These are the unseen realities that make the final product possible, and they deserve recognition alongside the glamour of fine dining. The scale of the operation is staggering. 50 tons of jumbo shrimp don't move themselves. They pass through dozens of hands and multiple checkpoints before arriving at their final destinations. Every transfer point is an opportunity for something to go wrong, and yet, through coordination and relentless attention to detail, the system works. It's a silent choreography that most people never think about, but without it, the idea of enjoying Gulf shrimp in a Chicago restaurant on a winter evening would be impossible. This seamless connection between distant waters and inland cities is one of modern logistics' most impressive achievements, and it happens quietly, day after day, without fanfare. And while this story focuses on shrimp, the principles apply to so much more of the food we eat. The trust between producer and consumer is fragile. It takes years to build and can be destroyed overnight by one mishandled shipment or one quality lapse. That's why every captain, processor, driver, and distributor involved in this chain operates with the same mindset. Protect the product, protect the reputation. It's not just about profit, it's about pride. When someone in Chicago bites into a perfectly cooked Gulf shrimp and tastes the sweetness of the ocean, it validates every hour of labor and every mile traveled. If you've followed this journey from the Gulf of Mexico to the heart of Chicago, you've seen just how much effort, expertise, and care it takes to make something so simple seem effortless. And that's why telling these stories matters. The more people understand the journey their food takes, the more they can appreciate the dedication behind it. Sharing this knowledge keeps these traditions alive and supports the hard-working communities that make it possible. If you want to keep discovering the hidden worlds behind the food on your plate, the incredible logistics that connect oceans to cities, and the stories of the people who make it all happen, make sure you subscribe to the channel right now. Your subscription isn't just a click. It's a way to keep this kind of storytelling alive, to give a voice to the fishermen braving the Gulf, the truckers crossing the country in the dead of night, and the workers in cold storage facilities who move with precision in freezing conditions. By subscribing, you help ensure that these stories continue to be told, and you join a community that values quality, dedication, and the unseen hands that bring the finest food to our tables. Don't miss the next journey. There's always another story waiting just beyond the horizon.